All right, y'all, we're back. Obviously, we're not flying today. We're sitting here in the office. I've got some things to explain. I want to help y'all out a little bit. I know not everybody that will be watching my channel is into aviation already, and there's a lot of you that want to be into aviation. Um, I'm here to explain a few things and maybe help you out a little bit. First off, I want to say that it's not as hard as it seems. You can be into aviation in a lot of different ways. Obviously, you have to start out as a student pilot. The main thing is that airplanes aren't near as expensive as you think they are. You can start with an airplane anywhere from 30 to 50 grand. Go to your local airport, or even my email. I'll put my email in the description, and let me know if you need some help. Go to your local airport and you're looking for a CFI, commercial flight instructor, and they can get you started. The aviation community is so broad, but is very inviting, and people are willing to help. Okay, I know there's a lot of questions. I'm going to try to answer as much as we can here, but here's a few things that you might need to know about getting into flying, or what you might need initially starting off. Now, obviously there's a lot of cost, and I will explain those and go over those as thoroughly as I can, but what we need here, we need to have a third-class medical. You need to be willing or able to pass a third-class medical. Now, there is something that we call basic med, or other smaller things that you could pass. You wouldn't necessarily have to pass a third-class medical, but if you can't pass a third class, you might not be able to go on and fly bigger or career airplanes. Also, we need to speak, read, and write English language. Now, there may be some ways around that, but I know that you do need to speak English. Like I say, meet with a CFI, talk with a CFI. He can help you out in some way. All right, now let's start this off a little bit. First off, what you're going to need, obviously, is the CFI. I've already mentioned it. Now, this is just to my area. I'm not saying, if you're out in Southern California, I don't know for sure about you, but I know in West Tennessee, you can get a CFI anywhere from $50 to $60 an hour. Now, my particular flight school, I'm going to use $60 an hour on a lot of these examples, so that's what we'll go with here. Obviously, you're going to need an airplane. Now, a lot of these flight schools or flight instructors will have an airplane that you can rent. Usually it's around $120 an hour for most of your trainer planes to get you started. Now, you might ask about what about fuel? Well, most of them, they include fuel in their rental prices. If you do have to pay for fuel, I believe fuel is going for $5.75 right now at our airport. Usually it's not that high, but as markets move and everything is high right now, avgas obviously goes with it. Okay, the next thing you're going to need is an iPad or iPhone. You might need other maps. It just depends on how your CFI is. He might want you to use paper maps in some instances. But most people nowadays are using your iPad or iPhone. I haven't included this in our total cost that I'll place at the end here, because most people have an iPhone or an iPad that you can use along the way. Next, we're looking at a headset. Obviously, you need to get started. You want a headset. Headsets aren't cheap. A lot of times we're looking at somewhere between $600 to $800 or $1,200. Now, I know that a lot of the popular ones, Lightspeed, Dave & Clark, Bose, there's upwards of anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200. Now, those are headsets that will last you for years. You're going to have quite a bit of flying. We have to have a minimum of 40 hours to become a private pilot. The majority of people, once they hit 40 hours, are not ready. Usually it is 50 to 60 hours. Me personally, I took mine at 100 hours. We have our own airplane, so I kind of flew whenever and built time. But actually, this list that I have here, I've based it off of 50 hours, and I will give you the prices at the end. Now, when we decide that we're ready, you've studied up, you've got everything, but let's say you've used Sporty's written prep. You got on the internet, you went to sportys.com and bought their written prep. You have to pass a written exam for part of your private pilot license. And what we need here, we need a written exam, an oral exam, and a practical exam. Now, your oral and practical will be together, but first you have to pass your written exam. So you're going to get on a Sporty's and you're going to get a written prep is what we call it. It's $280, and this will get you ready for your written test. Now, To go and take your written test is going to cost you somewhere around 140 to 160. Like I say, it depends on your area, depends on where you are. 140 to 160 dollars. Now let's say you pass this written test, you and your CFI are good, y'all decided that everything's good, you're ready for your oral and your check ride. Now when you go to take your check ride, most DPEs, designated pilot examiner, get somewhere between $500 to $600 for a check ride, and that is actually to obtain your certificate. Now when you go to take your check ride, he will give you scenarios as to you're going to plan out cross countries, which means a cross country in aviation is you're flying longer than 50 nautical miles. Now he will give you scenarios, you will plan everything, he'll show up and you will go through the oral exam. Basically all the oral exam is he's making sure that you know everything that you should know. A lot of it is on that written test that I was just talking about. More things that he might ask you about is some things along your route of your cross country. You know, what's this mean? What airspace is this? What's that mean? You'll learn all that with your CFI and along your studying. Now, as you get into the check ride, all DPEs are different. You're going to take, obviously, your check ride and do maneuvers. You will learn these once again with your CFI. And as the day progresses, if you pass, you get your pilot certificate. Now, if something happens, you know, and he's not able to pass you, you always come back and you can retake the test. Actually, you start where you stopped. And obviously no CFI or student wants to put their student into this check ride and on any terms of maybe thinking that they won't pass. You obviously always go to pass. Now I've put in here in our list random necessities, $400. So there could be some things less if you're renting an aircraft because they will actually take care of most things. But we've got things like we might need an E6B, a flight calculator is what those are. Maybe a bag. You need obviously your headset. You might need a few different necessities, study items, things like that. I've included $400 for necessities. So I've got this list here, and we're going to base this off of 50 hours. This is renting a plane, $60 an hour for the CFI, and $120 on the plane. So $180 in total per hour. Now altogether on the CFI, we're going to spend around $3,000 just for the CFI based on 50 hours. The plane, $6,000. Headset, I took an average of $600 to $1,200 and I averaged a headset for $900. Now you can get some headsets on eBay, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I might even advise you to get a used headset before you're sure that you get into aviation, that's what you want to do. But here recently, I had a headset break on me and I sent it back, and because we bought it new, they warrantied it and they fixed it for free and sent it back to me. I guess it's an expensive headset, but then again, if it wasn't under warranty, you either would have had to send it in, and sometimes when they're older and you buy them used, they don't have the parts anymore, so they might not have been able to fix it and you would have had to buy another headset. We're going to include $140 for our written exam, $600 for our check ride, $280 for our test prep, and also the $400 for your random necessities. Okay, y'all, I've come up with a grand total, and it is $11,320. Now, you might see a lot of videos on YouTube around $10,000, and yes, I believe that $10,000 could probably get you through. Now, remember, this is based on 50 hours, and this is based on prices in my area. Also, gas has come up dramatically since just a year ago, and so a lot of those older videos aren't covering the new prices of gas. I remember when I first started flying in 2018, gas was $3. It's now up to $5.75, like I say. So for $11,320, you can become a private pilot. Now I know a lot of you are wondering, okay, well, what's a private pilot? Well, a private pilot is somebody that can basically use his license for his own use only. Now, when you become a private pilot, you're going to have a buddy call up and say, hey man, look, I want to go to the beach. Can we go to the beach? I'll pay you. A private pilot is not to fly for more than half of prorated share, which means that he needs to pay for half of fuel, oil, and your necessities to get to the beach. There's going to be a lot of people thinking, well, you know, I want to become a commercial pilot. I want to fly for the airlines. Private pilot is your first step no matter what. You've got to get your private pilot and then on to more ratings. You can discuss that with a CFI. Private pilot, you can fly anywhere in the US and the Bahamas. Now there's a few restrictions here and there, but like I say, that can also be talked with your CFI. Alright, now some of you may be wondering, in some of my previous videos I'm flying what we call an Aeronca Champion. That is a tailwheel aircraft. Now, when you get your private pilot, most guys are just rated to fly in a tricycle gear, which is 2 main wheels and 1 up front. As you learn to fly, you might be flying higher horsepower planes or tailwheel planes. Now, obviously, your private will just cover what you have flown in. Now, we can get add-ons or endorsements onto your license. So for the Champ that I've flown in previous videos, I had to get a tailwheel endorsement for that. And usually all that means is that you're going to fly a few hours. Your instructor is going to say, okay, you're proficient in this type of aircraft. You know, we'll sign you off for that. I also fly another plane that is a high performance airplane that's above 200 horsepower. You also need a sign off for that. Complex airplanes, retractable gear airplanes, you will need a sign off for retractable gear. You'll learn all this as you talk to your CFI. Look on the web. Like I say, there's many people in the aviation community that are willing to help you, and feel free to comment here. Feel free to subscribe. Follow along me as my journey. I will be taking my commercial check ride October 7th, and hope to be a commercial pilot here soon. So, like I say, if you have any questions at all, I'll leave my email in the description. Comment here, and I'm willing to help any way I can.